Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today we are going to create an awesome card. This is a swinging hinge card. Nothing special needed. You need to be able to try and cut a circle and that's about it. Any shape will be hidden, so don't worry about it. But I am going to use these Hero Arts Infinity Circle dies to do that, and I'm going to need a sort of, small, larger circle and then a smaller circle, but you will see exactly what they're going to be used for soon. Now I'm using this Botanical Blooms paper here. The other sides are actually these gorgeous florals, but I am going to aim for the slightly more solid pink side here because this is actually what I'm going to stamp my sentiment on. Now I am going to give you some measurements, but actually you just don't need them. I always start with a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base, and then the pink bit there is going to be sort of the decoration that will be glued to the card base, and this purple piece is going to be a swinging hinge piece. So the pink piece I have cut to be about 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and that just gives a nice border. And then the purple piece here, I have cut this to be about 3 inches by 4 1/4 inches. So again, it doesn't really matter. I'm just leaving another nice border. And so that's all you need to do. If you actually wanted to, you could just use a single piece of paper and connect the hinge onto the actual card base. Now, this is all you need. I cut out this circle. I would say this is about 1 inch, maybe 1 1/4 circle. And then I have a small circle there, and I think it's a 1/2 inch circle, just give or take. Now, in the piece that you want to be swinging, you are going to make a smaller hole, and that's what I'm going to use this little circle die for, and I'm going to put it in the top left-hand corner, not too close because I want there to still be some strength in the paper, but this is going to create the little hole in the corner there, and that is what is going to swing. We're going to put our hinge through that. Now, keep that little circle that I just popped out of the center because we're going to use that as a guide in just a moment. Take your slightly bigger circle. Now, I promise I will zoom in so that you can see a little bit better. This is just a guide. Now, just to get my big fingers out of the way, I'm going to hold this with some reverse tweezers. And you just want to put 2 little snips in here, kind of like a reverse V. And so I am just doing it just under, I'm poking the very tip of the scissors underneath that inner circle there. And just so it heads, so I know that it's going to fit through that circle. You'll see all this will sort of be clear in just a minute. I'm not good at describing things. And so this here is going to create 2 little V, sort of backward V slices that you can lift up slightly. So I'll show you this and you can see exactly what you're going to end up with. This is not difficult. It doesn't matter if your cuts aren't even. It doesn't matter if your circle's not even. You're not going to see this. This is just the mechanism for holding on to your hinge. So once we have done that part, then I'm going to take, this is the Colossal Coneflower by Gina K, and I'm going to stamp these sentiments. I love this set. It has 2 big flowers, lots of leaves, a stem that you can angle left or right and shape how you want it to go, and then 3 big, large, usable sentiments. It is an absolute cracker of a stamp set. It is so useful. I've used it a lot. It appears in so many videos, so I know that it is a useful stamp to me, just in case you're looking for one. It's definitely not new out, but it's still available, that's for sure. I'm going to stamp this in some VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and this is going to stamp beautifully on my patterned paper. Now, this sentiment is going to be hidden behind the hinge, and so that is one of the reasons why I make this piece of paper. Honestly, I think this card is kind of one of the cards that you watch the video, then you see exactly where we're going, and then you can kind of go back and make it with me if you would like. Now, I'm going to take an option. I'm not going to even call it a shortcut because this is just as good an option as making your own. I have these flowers from Graphic 45. I have them in 3 different colors, but these just make life so easy when I don't feel like coloring cardstock, coordinating cardstock, cutting out my own from white and coloring them, but that would work just as well. well. Now we need something to cover up our hinge. You can absolutely just use an image that you would like to die cut, like if you wanted to die cut a little birdie or something like that. Now this is not going to swivel or turn. It's going to stay static. So whatever this image is, it is just going to cover up our little mechanism. I am actually going to put 2 of these flowers together. I'm aiming for a slightly larger one and then a slightly smaller one. And this is I think it's the Ivory pack. And so it has like several different shades of ivory, which I also love. I think there's maybe 3 or so shades in the pack, which means that you can mix and match them and it makes for a gorgeous flower, but not so many shades that it sort of gets confusing and you can't find anything to match. So in my opinion, they've done really well with these packs. They are great value. I of course have other videos on using these on my channel as well. If you're enjoying this, please go and have a look at some of the other videos that I have. I have over 1,000 now, so there's plenty there to find your style or find something that matches you. I'm going to use some liquid glue to put a couple of these layers together, but then I'm also going to use some 1mm, so these are pretty thin foam squares. I think these ones actually come from Simon Says Stamp. There are several companies that do them, but they're just nice and thin. They give that tiny little bit of dimension without sort of being bulky, if that makes sense. And just a little bit is sometimes, a really nice separator, something to give that little bit, but not, a whole lot, if that makes sense. And I do that to both of them. I'm going to put a tiny wee square on the back of this one too. If you're not sure that it's going to stay put, then put some good strong liquid adhesive in there with the foam, and then it's definitely not going anywhere. Now this is where you do have to do a tiny bit of careful placement when you put this together. Not at all tricky, definitely not, but we just need to remember not to glue things shut. So I'm going to show you how everything goes. We've got all our elements together. So pop those 2 little V cuts up and they are going to pop through your little hole. Now, if you're unsure about doing this, I would suggest making one out of copy paper first, and that way you're not going to ruin any cardstock, so to speak. So there we go, we've popped it through, and then I just flatten those little V bits a little bit, and you can see it's going to turn beautifully. So this is going to be our little swinging hinge. This is actually so simple and yet so fun. So there's sort of a little surprise message behind there. Now I did get a little bit excited and forgot to stamp my second sentiment, but that's okay because actually everything's flat and we'll be able to come back and stamp it later. You put some glue on the back there. Make sure you are only gluing the mechanism, not the purple piece of paper at this point. So you'll have, plenty to add glue to, and that's why we use that size circle. At the moment, you can still see the circle. That's okay because we're covering it up with this gorgeous flower. Now, the only parts that you want to add glue to here are, again, the top 2 flaps of the mechanism. We are not gluing anywhere on the purple piece of paper, so just those top 2 flaps. Again, it's plenty of glue to glue the flower to, and that just means that the flower is going to stay still. It's glued to the mechanism, and then the purple piece of paper is able to freely swing. Now, because we're using liquid glue, I would advise that you don't, put heaps and heaps of glue on there. This is the Art Glitter Glue. It is very strong. It's also pretty liquidy, so you really do want to make sure you just put enough. And then from here we can add in the other flower as well, and that one is going to sit down in the corner. Now this is going to swing with the purple piece, so all I'm adding the glue to is the corner of the purple piece of paper here. And that means that it's going to swing with the paper. Now, it was about this time that I was like, yep, I've definitely forgot to put on my second sentiment, and now we've got a blank front here. So that's okay, we can still make this work. I'm going to take, this is the, I think it's Happy Phrases from Gina K. As I said, I will have everything linked down below in the description of this box in case you would like to check it out. I'm going to add a little bit of mint tape to hold the swing in place, just in case there's movement. Also down below, there is a mailing address. If you would like to send me some snail mail, I would love to receive it, and I do some mail hauls on this channel, so you can see your cards pop up as well. I also have my website that you could check out, natashafootecreative.com. You can go over there for a whole lot more Natasha content. And then there is also a Facebook group. If you would like to share pictures of your creations or you were inspired by one of my videos, I would love to see it. I love to see the pictures of your creations, and it also means that I can chat back to you or ask questions. And so the best place to do that is at Come Crafting with Natasha on Facebook. Now, when it comes to these leaves, make sure you are gluing them only to the purple piece. We don't want to glue things all together. So this is going to go on the purple piece and this will swing. And then in just a second, have a look at this. How cool is this little secret message? Now, what would be really fun is to pop like a gift card or something under there, or maybe even just a note folded up. All sorts of fun things, that little surprises you could pop underneath. But very, very cool. If you wanted to, you could also put a little, like swing or pull or whatever little sentiment that you could stamp there to let the person know that they had to do that. But I think it's just a little fun surprise. I add some centers to the flowers, and that is going to be my card finish for today. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I really hope that you give it a go. This was really fun but so simple, which is definitely right up my alley. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye!